now recording. What's up, Craig? How you doing, Craig? Doing good, Craig? That's good, Craig. Yeah. Anyways, welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Believe Me Don't podcast. I know we skipped a week. We were just kind of busy doing other things. Obviously, it was like Thanksgiving. Hopefully, everyone had a good Thanksgiving and whatnot. I got to enjoy some good foods. And the most important thing being part of or being around family and whatnot. So now we're in the month of December, so it's getting into crunch time of, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. So getting near the end of the year. But today, just wanted to come on. Obviously, no one else is talking because no one else is here. It's just me tonight. I imagine Donkey's off doing retail things, Mythic Plusing it up. I don't know what Jordan, I think he's in peak season at work and whatnot, so he's fairly busy this month or whatever, so that's understandable. And I know he's playing retail WoW and stuff, so. And then we got Kiwi. I believe he's off doing the classic, WoW Classic, the Season of Discovery. It's some type of new thing that the classic team is trying out, basically trying to give a little bit more of a fantasy feel to the modern or the classic version of classic. So they're switching up with abilities and giving each classes apparently like switching around what classes can do in their roles and stuff. Like there's a shaman two-hand, like I know that was always like you could do it back in the day, but not like a true thing. And you can tank as two-hander. I think there's mages that are healers, which kind of makes sense because if you think about it, they have fire, frost, or ice, and arcane. But then some mages in some aspects, like Final Fantasy and whatnot, you could do time. So they can do that, and I think they can heal. So there's some switching around and whatnot. They're just basically experimenting, because I know in the past with the whole release of Classic, it was like definitely heavy nostalgia of going back and doing the old raids that people didn't get to do and whatnot. But it's a 20-year-old game, and like the game is easy nowadays compared to what we dealt with playing and whatnot. So it's a neat spinoff. So hopefully Kiwi's having fun. Rack is, I'm gonna assume, doing his thing with school and life and stuff. So shout out to him. Finish strong, bruh. And then Cypher, I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, that just kind of leaves me here. So the reason I want to come on and talk really is what I'm doing currently, what I'm playing. So oddly enough, and it's funny how I've made fun of Donkey for years and whatnot, and the others, but I am back playing retail WoW, or the current iteration of World of Warcraft, in the Dragonflight expansion. The newest expansion came out literally a year and like a couple weeks ago. So that's odd to think about it. And I came back literally in the time of the third and final raid of the expansion. So I just want to hop on here and really talk about my thoughts of it and whatnot. So just kind of start. The main reason I hopped back into it is, I don't know, I've always had WoW has always was my main game, for 10 plus years. And then just life caught up and whatnot. And the game just wasn't very appealing to me. So, and I was just in a little bit of a weird spot between games, waiting honestly on Warzone 3 to come out, which it comes out this week. So, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. But I just wanted something to play because I had just finished a Kingdom Hearts game. I definitely didn't want to jump into another one because I need a little bit of a break for those. And so I was like, and I was also one reason why I was hopping back into it is because if you don't keep up with the World of Warcraft, like anything in general of it, but basically every single in the modern era now, they have something called the Race to World First, and it's just who can clear the newest raid on the hardest difficulty first. So, I usually keep up with them each tier. I wasn't able to the last raid, just work and other things like that. But this one I was able to, and it was a pretty neat race. The two well, there's like three guilds, but like the two main ones that have been competing against each other for the last couple expansions is the North American Guild Liquid. So they've been flip flopping back and forth between winning and the other guild being the EU Guild of Echo, which was formerly Method, but then they broke off and whatnot. So Method or Echo is the newest one, and they've dominated WoW first raid or the race to first for years when they were Method and now even Echo. Um, they obviously have talented players, and it's almost it's their jobs. So like they are able to put in the full effort when it comes to preparation, which is months of getting all the gear that they could possibly get, mapping out strategies, doing PTR work on the public test realm that Blizzard allows them to do with certain bosses and whatnot. So they put like that full effort into it. But yeah, it was an interesting race. This time it lasted almost 2 weeks, almost two resets, I think. But it was Echo ended up taking it. Literally, it was so close. Both guilds, the last day that it was killed, were sub 10 or sub like it was sub 10% on the boss, and it was going back and forth. And once those guilds, one of them, once they get that right pull, it's done. And it just happened that everybody was alive and whatnot for Echo, and they took it home. And they've always been known for being the more they do the fight, they strategize, like they talk about it, they keep comms clear and stuff like that, so other people can't hear it and whatnot. And then they talk about it, and then they go into it because they know once they get to a point, once they've seen it, they're going to get back to it and then go further and progress further than anybody else. Like they're not going to go back. Like speaking from experience of rating, obviously not on their level, but just rating in general and leading a guild and whatnot. We were the people who were just going there, not real big on strategies. Obviously, we had watched videos because people had cleared it before us, and we just did our own thing, and it wasn't 100% serious or anything like that. We just went until we killed it and stuff. So it never took us very long to clear or not, to kill a boss. We obviously never made it to the highest difficulty and stuff like that, just because we're obviously a super casual guild compared to these people and whatnot. But it's always fun to watch these races. So yeah, Echo took it. Liquid got second, and then Method They're still around, but they got third. It was odd though because um, I'll talk about, I guess, so the three. Well, in this raid, it's called the Imagil, the Dreams Hope, I believe. So there is how many bosses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 9 bosses. So you have normal, heroic, mythic, and whatever. Mythic is top level, 20 man and whatnot. So Liquid actually killed the second to last boss, Tendril, which they were calling T Swift because it's a bird and Tendril. But they cleared him, and then Echo was taking so much more time on him, and I thought that was like, oh man, Liquid's got the upper hand on the last boss being Fryak. They went what they call dark, where they shut off the stream and everything so that they could get extra things, because the whole thing with the first, once Liquid and freaking Echo and even Method, they like do their splits and whatnot. If you don't know what that means, it's just like you take in classes that you know that you're going to take into the later bosses and whatnot, and you try and match up the classes, and you get gear for those specific people that you know you're going to bring into those other ones. And you even sometimes get randoms to come in that you pay them a stupid amount of gold so that they can give you gear and whatnot. But they basically have been doing, they would do normal splits, heroic splits, and then they would finally get into mythic several days later, because they don't care about those first few bosses when it comes to technically world first, because there's world first for each boss. It's just you want that last boss. That's the one that mainly counts. So like once Liquid and Method and Echo, they do their splits and whatnot, they'll go through and they've watched all the strategies, everybody that else has already killed them, because other guilds, like Instant Dollars and whatnot, they try and go in and get those world first kills as quickly as they can, because they know that they're not going to catch up with Echo and them. But so they'll steal those, and then once it gets to the later bosses, basically it's whoever is up and kills the boss, and the other one is sleeping, because Echo is EU and Liquid being ENA, so there's a time differential or whatnot. So like, say Liquid kills it, they'll work on the next boss and then go to sleep. Echo's waking up. They're just going to essentially steal their strategy, and they don't need to take as many wipes and attempts on the boss. So, but yeah, Liquid had all the upper hand or whatever, and it's odd to see the different rating styles, because Liquid is super, like, obviously they take it very seriously because it's their job. Like, they need to keep up sponsors and whatnot and kill the bosses. So, but they have a lot of fun in it, and they're just rambling on even during the pulls. Like, their leader Maximum, he's just talking and he's like ignoring the chatter and whatnot. That was always one thing back in the day when I was trying to lead. Mainly not much so with like Rack and Donkey and them, because we could have a conversation with them because I knew that they were going to do their shit essentially. But when I was leading others, man, it was massively annoying to hear people talk during a boss fight and then also screw up. I can get behind some banter and whatnot, but if you're going to screw up on simple ass shit, because WoW, for the most part, is a simple game of move out of this, go stand in this to soak it, go stand over here on top of somebody or whatever, heal this person, DPS that thing, tank that thing or whatever. But if you can't do, two things at once, just don't talk. Like, talk after the pull, talk about what we did wrong, joke with somebody, whatever. But yeah, Liquid is more they're probably going to end up changing some type of strategy because I feel like they didn't play as good on track and whatnot. I'm probably saying his name wrong, just FYI, but whatever. But both, I think the end boss, both the two last bosses took over 400 pulls. If I ever was in that opportunity and was good enough to raid and shit like that on that level, I just don't know if I could do 400 pulls. You're talking 400 pulls on the same boss, and it felt like it it felt like some of the mistakes were just the exact same mistakes. And I understand I've never rated on that level, and you have to understand timings and overlaps and just mechanics in general. But I don't know. Echo just, they seemed a lot more disciplined once they get to that final part of any last boss, and they just seem to could take it home. But both of them are fun to watch. I think Liquid is a lot more fun to watch just in general because Echo has been one to keep their communications a little bit more silent during certain things, but Liquid is like full open unless they get to the end boss first, and like they're trying to keep that strategy from Echo or Method or anybody like that because they don't want them to steal it and have an upper hand. So, but anyways, long rant on that. Watching the race world first and whatnot, and like I said, I was in between games waiting on Warzone and whatnot. I was just like, damn, I'm getting that little itch to play WoW again. And I know for years I played Hunter. That was my main class. Whenever I first started WoW, it was, if you listen to our way earlier episodes talking about what I started playing, I played a warrior, and that was all fine and dandy in like BC because we had no clue what we were doing and no one took it super seriously, and the game still wasn't hard even then. But once I started to get, basically when I met like Rack and Donkey, I was like, I can't do this shit. I'm not good at all. So I'll go play something a lot easier and a lot more fun to me, which was Hunter. But once again, they started to change Hunter after Cataclysm. For me, it started to suck because I didn't want to play. There used to be three specs called Survival, Marksman, and Beast Mastery, or BM. And BM was always super boring to me because basically the pet did all the work. You hit one or two buttons and that was it. Marksman was cool, at least for Wrath, because once you got that armor pin, you were a god. But in the later expansions, when I had to play it, because they switched Survival to ass and switched it to a melee spec, Marksman just became a freaking turret, and I don't want to play a phone game, essentially. I don't want to play something where I have to shoot, plan out my movement. It's stupid to me. So, but I was like, I'll come back and play the only thing I know how to play, which is Hunter. I did play Mage in BFA and Shadowlands a little bit, and that was fine. It was odd to me to play a mage, but I learned how to play it because fire in BFA was dope. But yeah, I came back, and also, I think my Hunter was the only one. So the new camp on Dragonfly is 70. My Hunter was the only one that was 60, and I was like, I don't want to level. The other ones get placed at 50. I don't want to level 20 levels. I can only do 10. So I ended up leveling him. It didn't take me very long. Maybe a couple of days. And I don't know, it was just a simple itch to play it. Obviously, WoW will always have something in my heart to go back to, maybe as long as it keeps going on and whatnot. which it seems the foreseeable future. And maybe even my son will play it. Unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep him away from it. We'll see. But yeah, I've hopped back in, and I hopped in basically at the end of this expansion, Dragonflight. And honestly, that's if you're a casual player and you've just wanted to hop into WoW. One thing is, if you jump in at the beginning of an expansion, for whatever reason, it just feels like it 100% gives this FOMO effect that if you don't play, you miss out on so much stuff, and there's always so much that you have to keep up with. And at the end of the expansions, it's like they've listened to us and said, yeah, that would be really cool to have. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah. They keep saying, yeah, that's great. And then they don't do it until right there at the end of the expansion. And it's like, okay, guys, come back, have fun. Everything is unlocked for you. And it's a stupid concept, I understand, from a marketing standpoint and whatnot for them, that they want to keep people coming back each tier or patch or whatever. But it sucks that you don't see the best version of the expansion until the very end. So, but the main point of me playing World of Warcraft has always been raiding. I've never been a PvPer. I've did it casual, like even more casual than raiding and whatnot. I'm not good enough, so that's also why I never, dove into it too good or too much. But I did it casually and whatnot. And then dungeons are just, they're dungeons. I only want to do them so many times because, like, I understand with the rating and whatnot, you're gonna have to do it so many times over the next year or 6 months, however long the patches are and the expansion. But those reward to me, or have rewarded more in the past. Now they've set up dungeons, which is 5 mans compared to 20 or 10 to 30. 20 man being the hardest in raids. It's a lot easier to get 4 of the people versus, 9 or 19. So, but then they have different iterations also of the dungeons with normals, or not normals. I guess they do have normal. Yeah, normals, heroics, mythic zeros, and then mythic plus. And normal, heroic, mythic zero is just like difficulty essentially. But then when you get into mythic plus, at a certain level of it, they start adding what is called affixes. And they just add little things to it to make it replayable in a sense. But once you get past, I think you can only get up to 3 affixes for a dungeon once you get to a certain level. After that level, you can continue to stack the level up, but it just becomes a number game and how much damage they're going to take or you need to do to them and stuff. So that part it's cool. But so far I've been able to just really dive in doing the campaign. Didn't finish it because I care zero about WoW's storyline in any expansion because it's died off. I don't want to watch YouTube videos and whatnot. I don't care. The cinematics, for most part, they've been cool. Obviously, every expansion, the art team, cinematic teams, they kill it. But I still don't care, so I'm sorry, Blizzard. But I've been diving into dungeons, essentially. I've only been playing for basically a week and a half, and I've been able to do heroics until you get enough to gear to do with a mythic 0. Then I got a mythic key. And then I've been doing mythic pluses on my own. Donkey was able to help me out with the 20 and basically carry me, which, thank you, Donkey. But that was fun. And now I'm just trying to find a group and time I can do the raid, because it does look cool, because it gives me heavy Firelands vibes, and that's one of my favorite raids of all time in the Cataclysm expansion. So I wanted to jump into that whenever I can. I think I'm gonna try and go with Donkey's group next week if I'm able to, and I think that'll be fun. I need to watch the videos and learn them, but I should be able to and not look like a total idiot. So they won't. They're obviously they're going to carry me because they're literally 30, almost 40 item levels higher than me, and they're better players. But it'll still be fun for me to actually participate and see the raid and whatnot. But yeah, that's just honestly, that's just this episode. I was just, by myself or whatever. So I wanted to get on and really talk about my thoughts of the new expansion and why I'm currently playing it after making fun of Donkey for years and shit like that. But I'm a super casual WoW player to begin with, and even now, it was just to hop back in and see what's going on and really just keep in touch with WoW, because, like I said, it remains somewhere in my gaming mind. It'll remain there forever, whether I hate it, like it, whenever. It always just comes back to me and stuff. So, but it's been some fun so far, and this new patch and whatnot is pretty cool. But it's the end, and the cool thing, if you didn't get to watch BlizzCon and whatnot, we did have an episode about it, but they're going to do basically what they call the World Soul Saga, which is they have 3 planned expansions. This is like the first time doing that. Usually they do an expansion, they'll start working on the next expansion once they put out the other one, but they never really follow suit, and it's essentially. But now they're sticking. Hopefully they stick with the guns of these 3, and they carry over what's good and what's bad, and getting rid of the bad and carry the good over, and the story will become cohesive and whatnot. So it'll be fun. Maybe like a super slight maybe, I will hop in to, I think it's War Within, the next expansion, like when it launches. Apparently they're going to go shorter expansions, 3 raids, which sucks in my opinion. BC was awesome with how many raids they did it, but I can understand it's overwhelming. But 3, I think 3 raids is acceptable if you're going to do it in a year or 2 time cycle. You don't want a patch to last like freaking 8 to 14 months and stuff like that. That's annoying, bro. We don't want to do that. So we'll see if I hop in War Within. We'll see where I'm at with what game. Hopefully Warzone doesn't suck too much and I can get back into that, because I have missed that. But I hate that Donkey wasn't here to talk about, and Jordan to talk about how they're doing in the raid. They've cleared Heroic as far as I know, and they're just doing Mythic Plus and whatnot. And then I would have liked to talk to Kiwi about Season of Discovery, but maybe that's another episode. But, and then just to talk about the future episodes, I still want to do a Remnant 2 kind of review, or just to talk about it, and the DLC's out. So I want to do that one, like Cypher, Kiwi, Jordan, Mixow, and and then one of the bigger ones being Baldur's Gate 3, because that's a potential Game of the Year. And oddly enough, the Game of the Year awards is coming up this week, so that'll be fun to see. But that's another episode I want to do. But yeah, I just wanted to hop in and do this episode, talk about my WoW. It's like obsession. It's not obsession anymore. definitely not what it used to be. More controllable on my end. Don't ever get addicted to WoW. It can have that effect on you, but just, you do not have to play every single day. If you want to, that's your choice, but you shouldn't have to have that feeling. So, but yeah, thank you for listening, and just thank you for whoever has listened to our past episodes, and hopefully you continue to listen. I know we're random people, and we just ramble on usually, and we have no agenda, no outline of any episode. We just get on here to talk and shit. So, thank you for listening, and I hope you have had good holidays and will continue to have good holidays into this month. We have obviously socials just to, if you want to keep up and listen to our episodes, follow our Twitter/X, Spatchy123, YouTube, the Believe Me If You Don't podcast, Spotify, Believe Me If You Don't podcast, Anchor, it's Anchor/Spotify, Believe Me If You Don't podcast. Go listen over there. Give us some feedback if you want to. Rate us, even if it's bad, good, whatever. We'll take it either way. But for now, I'm just gonna sign off. Thank you for listening, and remember, you can continue to believe us if you don't. Peace.